There's nothing better than a fair reward for a job well done, like how I get one fun-sized Milky Way for successfully delivering each line. It's a perfect system. Equally, there's nothing worse than working your gaming fingers to the bone only to receive a ridiculously inadequate reward, like one of these various unlockable characters that mocked our efforts with their terribleness. Consider these unlockable characters that weren't worth the hassle as suggested by the learned commenters on the original version of this video, and beware spoilers for the following games. Okay, well, all of the games in this list should technically count as one line, right? So I should, if I say, for example, Don't Starve, then that counts as, can I, Milky Way? Milky Way?
No.
Milky Way.
Jane said no.
Never in the history of civilization have people battling for their continued survival said, "What we really need here, friends, is a mime." And with good reason. These silent performance artists, known as mimes, have no special aptitude for grim survival situations, and in fact, given their weakness against being trapped in glass boxes, they've got problems enough of their own. Imagine, therefore, our trepidation when, while playing the Tim Burton-esque survival game, Don't Starve, we stumbled upon Wes the Silent while going about the business of staying alive. When you finally track down Wes in an enormous randomized map, you find this unlockable character is, yes, a mime, and yes, trapped in a glass box. To free Wes so that you can play as him in future, you must then clear out all the nearby monsters at great personal risk to your all-too-mortal self. That answers the question of how you do it, leaving only the question, why did you do it? Because Wes from Don't Starve is the most useless character in the game. And as noted by the game, Wes can't talk, has trouble staying alive, and practices balloonomancy. So yeah, Wes has the particular deficiency of being unable to vocally warn the player about status ailments or incoming waves of enemies on account of his presumably sworn oath to not say anything ever. That's commitment to your art form. Your silly, silly art form. This flimsy guy also has less health and deals less damage, and though he is capable of making balloon animals that serve as decoys, he also gets hungrier faster, and at the end of the day, the name of the game is Don't Starve, not Do Make Balloon Animals. Maybe you were better off inside that glass box, hey? Safer in there.
Nuclear Throne is a top-down, pixel art bullet hell-ish roguelite, and it has a secret unlockable character, and let me tell you, he's a real nobody. Because he has no body, he's a skeleton.
Ellen, please. You're on Outside Extra now.
Sorry. In a game that is already trickier than a 3-day magician's convention, unlocking Skeleton is particularly difficult. That's because the character can only be unlocked by dying in a very specific way late in the game, while you're already playing as the most challenging regular player character, the extremely fragile mutant called Melting, who starts with a mere 2 hit points. Got the dying bit down, just not necessarily the whole very specific way late in the game bit. In order to unlock this character, you have to die within a necromancer's circle in the labs level. Do so and you'll be instantaneously resurrected as Skeleton. What you'll quickly come to realise is that Skeleton is even worse than Melting. He moves more slowly, starts with only a single hit point, meaning that he can be insta-killed by even the weediest enemies, and has a random chance of suffering self-inflicted damage every time he fires a gun. I was going to ask how did this guy survive a nuclear apocalypse, but clearly he didn't. As if all this wasn't bad enough, unlocking Skeleton doesn't give you permanent access to him as a character. You only get him for that specific playthrough. If you want to play as him again, you'll have to go through the whole rigmarole again. I guess if I want to be a skeleton, I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Die and then gradually decompose.
If the Hollywood Walk of Fame gave stars to game protagonists, you know Cloud Strife would be on there, right between Ben Kingsley and Shrek. Being at least as good and cool as Sir Ben and the DreamWorks animation Spokes Ogre, the iconic lead of Final Fantasy VII is an A-lister among video game heroes. And yet, when it came time for him to cameo in Final Fantasy Tactics, a more tactics-focused combat game from the Final Fantasy series, Cloud landed a role as an unlockable party member who came to the game too late and too weak to be any cop. Or in other words, you get him almost at the end of the game and he's level 1. Your opportunity to unlock Cloud comes late on, and then only after an elaborate series of steps involving dragons, robots, a precious item called a Zodiac Stone, and eventually a time machine that summons Cloud right out of his world and into this one like a Terminator. Except he's not naked. Naked he isn't, but confused he is your boy Cloud, having been zapped into another dimension, and even after being summoned, he's not going to join you until he gets into a street brawl over a flower girl who looks a bit like his lost love Aeris, and you save his butt. After putting in all that effort, you unlock Cloud as a level 1 party member, in stark contrast to all your other characters, who at this point will be substantially leveled up. If you want to get any good work out of this scrub mercenary, you're going to have to grind harder than Tony Hawk in a coffee shop. All in all, for Cloud, it's a significant step down from the starring role in the most beloved Final Fantasy there is to a bit part as confused guy on the street. Better talk to your agent, Cloud.
Scrambling around his room to find a hiding place, he noticed a trapdoor to the basement hidden under his rug. Without hesitation, he flung open the hatch, just as his mother burst through the door, and threw himself down into the unknown depths below.
Playing weird, gross, roguelike RPG Binding of Isaac Rebirth is already pretty challenging, filled as it is with the sort of stuff you'd find in the bins around the back of the butchers, but we found a way to make it even more unpleasant. Yay? That way is to attempt to unlock the secret character known as the Lost. To unlock this secret character, you have to die 4 times in multiple consecutive runs, as different characters in very specific ways at very specific points in the game. Mess any of the stages up and you have to start all over again. As Isaac, you have to die to a Mullaboom in Chapter 1. As Magdalene, you must die from your own bomb in Chapter 2. As Judas, you must die to Mom in Chapter 3. And as Azazel, you must die to Satan. If this were any more complicated, it'd be the rules of American football. Endure this ludicrously overcomplicated process and you'll finally unlock the Lost, who looks like a sort of disturbing crying ghost baby. And that's the good news. The bad news is best described by the Binding of Isaac fan wiki, which says, and I quote, "The Lost has no health and cannot gain health by any means." Sounds like my first visit to the gym after Christmas. Yes, after all that effort to unlock it, the Lost is extremely fragile, making this already tricky game enormously difficult. As a result, you can be midway through a boss fight against a giant nightmarish representation of Isaac's mother, stomping through the ceiling in enormous high-heeled shoes, for example, only to be killed by a tiny spider that just happened to be there as well. Isaac! And they call fear of spiders irrational. See? Very rational. The most rational.
When you're assembling a party of adventurers to strike out and save the planet or the universe or the princess or the Q4 profits of a video game publisher, you need to think carefully about who you want in your team. Take 1992 Genesis RPG Shining Force, for example. If you're going to prevent Dark Soul from resurrecting the legendary Dark Dragon and plunging the kingdom of Guardiana into darkness, you'll probably want to fill your titular Shining Force party with talented knights, paladins, mages, and archers. What you probably don't want to do is take up a valuable slot with a character from a species that can die of a heart attack if it gets a bit too excited. Unlockable character Yogurt is an admittedly very cute hamster in a helmet and is essentially a jokey Easter egg. He's also functionally useless, given that he can't level up at all and his stats are set at 1. Oh, apart from his movement stat, which is 7. Clearly been working out on that hamster wheel. The process to unlock Yoga doesn't even make any sense. The hamster appears in the background at various points in the game, including once in Chapter 4 in the village of Pau. When you get to the village, if you visit the church and stand next to a bed that, may we point out, is nowhere near where the hamster is on screen, it will join your party. Naturally, all of Yogurt's attacks only dish out a single point of damage, and even the weakest characters have at least 10 health points. But if you're extremely determined, you can defeat enemies with the hamster, at which point you earn a delicious sounding yogurt ring. If you're expecting a worthwhile reward for your efforts though, think again. Its only purpose is to make any other characters in your party that equip it also look like a hamster. You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think a lack of hamsters is the problem here.
Iconic action sports game SSX3 was an astonishing achievement when it arrived on PS2 and the original Xbox back in 2003. Somehow it managed to cram in an entire seamlessly snowboardable mountain's worth of runs, trick parks and off-piste backcountry into a console that's now over 20 years old.
That's right, this is what it's all about.
And in order to ensure you had plenty to do on that full-sized mountain, there were tons and tons of challenges, ranging from a race down the full length of the mountain to shorter trick-based challenges. I guess you'll never be bored? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
Back to Outside Extra with you.
Complete every single tiny challenge in the game to earn 100% completion, and you'll unlock the Far East Myth character. If you're not familiar, this is a Yeti, which is an ape-like creature of legend that has been rumoured to inhabit the Himalayan mountain range since well before the 19th century. Quite what one is doing 7,000 miles away shredding on a snowboard in a North American ski resort is never adequately explained. I mean, it's not like he'd fit in a plane seat. Maybe first class. While you'll have spent many hours perfecting your snowboarding skills to unlock Far East Myth, and while this secret character is your hard-earned reward for tens of hours committed to the game, in fact, the only real difference when playing with this Yeti compared to other characters in the game is that he's absolutely massive, making it harder for you to see and easier for others to elbow you off your snowboard. Alright, I'm going from off-piste to pieced off. Again, I can only apologise. Please don't be mad, Andy. I'm sorry.
Right. No, that's it. Video's over.
Good job, fellow crime fighter. Now I really must be going. Down west. Away! Da-da-da-dum, Adam West. Da-da-da-dum, Adam West.
When it comes to characters, LEGO games have a bigger cast than The Rock with a broken arm. LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, for instance, has some 165 playable characters from the Batman Extended Universe, not counting the DLC.
Calling all Justice League members. Mayday.
No, we'll take the check, please.
We never get a break.
If you do count the LEGO Batman 3 DLC, there are a staggering 217 LEGOized DC characters to play as, including real person and filmmaker Kevin Smith, who is actually not a DC character, but just really wanted to be involved.
Some people go for Oscars and stuff. Me, I went for if only I can get into a LEGO game, and I'm done. I peaked at age 43.
How do you say no to that? Another real person turned into a LEGO minifig for the purposes of LEGO Batman 3 was Adam West, the actor who so memorably portrayed the Batman in the 1960s TV series.
Their minimum objective must be the entire world.
Zack Snyder could never. To unlock the now sadly departed Adam West and add him to your LEGO Batman 3 roster, however, you had to rescue him 30 entire times from 30 separate situations, one in each level, on account of Adam constantly getting himself stuck in some kind of terrible peril.
Thank you, citizen. Time to hit the beach. Better take some shark repellent bat spray, just in case.
Can't stay out of trouble, that guy. Locate and free TV's Adam West 30 times and he's yours to play as, which would be fine and good, except for his underwhelming abilities. Since Mr. West's repertoire comprises merely kicks, punches, batarangs, and sensing hidden objects, his only special ability is made redundant by a cheat that does the same thing, and is acquired by finding a red brick with significantly less painstaking search and rescue than for Adam West. Lego Adam West's limited skill set admittedly tracks with human Adam West's being an actor as opposed to an actual superhero. But then when you rescue similarly human Stan Lee in Lego Marvel Superheroes, the Marvel comic book legend has the combined powers of the Hulk, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Magneto. How do you say no to that? In any case, with Adam West's comparatively underpowered cameo in Lego Batman 3, you'll have to comfort yourself with some extremely choice voice lines.
Nice work. Let's go out of the town later and I'll show you how to dance the Batusi.
That'll have to do. And it does.
Out of sight, baby. Well, that about wraps this case up. Curious how a swinging beat can tame even the most criminal of minds.
Hey, thanks so much for watching this video about unlockable characters that sucked real bad and weren't worth unlocking. If you click on either of these videos, they might be hosted by one of the other Outside Xbox members, and that would count as an unlockable character. Do they suck real bad? I don't know. You'll have to. You tell me. You'll have to watch the video and tell me. I'm just saying.
The others to know that I didn't say that.
Ellen wrote this bit. This is all scripted. It sounds like I'm making it up, but these are the exact words Ellen wrote down. Mike and Jane, bad presenters. You just gotta hope I'm in this one. Down here is Outside Extra. I'm probably not in this one. So this can be real. No, not my Milky Ways. No, watch a video. Give me a Milky Way. Thanks for watching. Those three things.